Hello, I'm Keith Dyer. I'm editor of the Mobile Network. I'm here at Mobile World Congress 2025 on the Mavenir booth to talk about AI, which is not surprising because AI is surely the dominant topic of this year's Mobile World Congress, and it's probably dominated this show more than any topic has dominated any MWC. But within AI, what we're here to talk about is how AI can help network operators transform their own network operations. To do that, we've assembled a great panel. We've got Kristoffersen from ICE, a Norwegian operator. We've got Dimitris Mavrakis from ABI Research. We've got Larson from Mavenir. Now guys, let me just position this for you really, which is that I think we all understand where operators want to get to in terms of transforming their business and their operations. They're aware they need to innovate quicker, they need to be more flexible. We hear about network as a platform, programmability of networks, API, that end piece. And we know also that the networks are getting really complex, there's more layers in the networks, they're trying to implement cloud platforms and make that migration. And we know that the sheer variety and number of services they hope to deliver is going to grow. And so AI, automation looks like the only way out of squaring those two things. But I think in this panel what we can do is discuss how operators can implement AI, what it gives them, and then say how that gives them the customer benefits. So by the end of this panel, you'll have more of an understanding of how these three guys understand how operators can change that. Tore, let's come to you. As is traditional as the operator on the panel, what do you see AI can do for you within your business when it comes to operations and network?
It's really a customer, from a customer point of view, that's where it all starts. So it's, as you mentioned, Keith, the networks are getting more and more complex. And the customer expectations are huge when it comes to capacity, content and everything. So we need to make fast decisions to meet the customer expectations. So it's really a customer-centric point to start.
So it's about changing, as I said, changing how you can address customer requirements.
Absolutely,
okay.
and to do so, we need to get rid of a lot of legacy because we need to have a very data-centric, very software-centric approach to how we organize the architecture.
And Dimitris, in your engagements with your clients within the operators, what are they trying to get AI to do for them in that operation space?
Well, as you said, the AI topic is pervasive throughout the show and across all layers of the network. But in the context of operations, they're really trying to simplify their lives. To increase operational efficiency and effectively make it more cost efficient. And like Tore said, that translates to a better user experience. So one way or another, every operator here in the show and our clients and contacts, they're trying to let AI help them do this.
Yeah, and Brandon, I know Mavenir's built up good capabilities in AI and automation. How are you helping your operators with that? Where are you applying that for them within the network?
Yeah, we see AI everywhere in the network that can help. Security is one area where we're using our spam and fraud, where we're using AI models to learn the different fraud patterns, and that's helping protect the customer experience, as well as that's reducing liability for the operators, right? Where they can have to put money towards some of these spammers if they're successful with their customers. Inside the network, we can use automation and AI to improve KPIs. We can use it for better service assurance. We can also use it for resource optimization, for cost savings. And then on the customer side, we can use AI to give a better customer experience that you mentioned, but I understand how they're using their service. What plan do they have? Do they have the right plan? Is the services being delivered according to plan? And so that's really making sure that the community is able to deliver the value the customers expect. And if there's an opportunity to upsell them with new plans, we can do that too with AI.
Okay, so Tore, just keep this simple for me. Where in your network and operations do you have AI running at the moment? What's it achieving? And maybe then you can talk about where you want to take that. So.
We started with messaging. So we started doing an AI-based Mavenir solution. It's called Spam Shield. And we started because it's all about sort of training the model. So we started with a supervised setup where we said, okay, you're going to look for this. You're going to look for this kind of patterns. Yeah. In the end of the day, you want to have an unsupervised solution. So now we are on a semi-supervised solution, and it's blocking a lot of fraud. Like the last 12 months, we blocked 8 million SMSs. out of 1.65 billion SMSs. And that's really helping the customers not being tricked by some criminal guy that wanted to trick them. It keeps us as a mobile operator on the trusted side, because we need the customer to trust our services. That's what we live from. So removing all that sort of bad traffic is extremely important.
Okay, so specific use case around security there. Dimitris, how, in a wider sense, how are you seeing this operators try to change the operations with AI? Are you seeing any interesting models or use cases?
Definitely, but before we go into that, a word on security is that malicious actors are now using AI to create new threat vectors to enter in the network, and there have been attacks in tier 1 networks since 2022 that used AI, right? So the traditional model of security is no longer applicable, right? You have to use AI.
So we let the AI fight it out between themselves?
Yes, in a way, yes. The agents can fight it out themselves, but I mean, operators have to adapt, right? Because AI is being used from both sides of the story. But in terms of AI being used, obviously we see a lot of models now, taking place in the network, machine learning, even NLP and Gen AI, LLMs, being used to help operations personnel to identify faults, to make sense of, alarms, and try to do root cause analysis much quicker than before, right? And this is a vital part, to understand when a fault is, whether it's security, it's a network fault, and try to fix it as soon as possible. So I believe that all operators are very sensitive to this discussion.
Yeah, okay. And Brandon, I know Mavenir has taken a specific approach to implementing AI, sort of, as you say, from RAN to core within the network. So, but how do you do that practically, and how do you structure that so operators can access?
I like the word practically,
okay.
Right? So a lot of times when I talk about AI, I say it's more of a capability than a technology. In the telco, we always think we solve through technology. Capability is applying data science and state-of-the-art AI technologies to solving specific problems. And I'll give you an example. DQN reinforcement learning is a technique that's used by Google DeepMind to control their data centers, right? And they got like a 40% cooling because it's able to come up with novel optimization strategies for cooling. Siemens uses it to optimize their gas turbines. So there's a state-of-the-art technology that's used outside of telco, and we're saying, hey, why don't we bring that into telco and see if we can solve problems? Because guess what we deal when we deal with networks? It's a very complex optimization problem, right? You're looking at lots of data, you're trying to figure out what to do, and you're making a lot of decisions on what actions to take. So to give you a specific example, we put this DQN reinforcement learning in an operator's RAN network. And what we trained it to do is tune mobility parameters. And when I asked our data scientists, I go, so what's the action space are we talking about? And he goes, it was 120 to the power of 9th unique combinations for 3 parameters that we were trying to tune to get a mobility rate down, failure rate down. And so our operations guys have done all they could with the human mind, and we put the AI in, and it outperformed the humans by 40% in a week. So when we actually lit off the AI, we're just like, it's achieving results that our humans couldn't do. It's surpassing what humans can do because it has the ability to crunch so much more data and come up with these novel optimization strategies and outthink humans. And if you really think about the analogy, why can AI beat the chess champions, right? If you train that AI to play chess, eventually it beats the humans. And so we're taking that concept and saying, let's bring that into telco.
Okay, which kind of means to me then that you're going to have the data scientists, people who really understand AI, but you're going to have the telco knowledge as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that we deliberately do is we team up our system engineer telco experts with our data scientists, because data scientists don't understand telco, and our telco guys are starting to learn data science. So together we have to blend those skill sets together to produce these results.
Okay. Do you think that's really challenging for you and your peers? Do you have those combined skill sets, or is that where partnership comes in?
We are totally dependent on partnerships with like Mavenir. We're very happy with our partnership, and it's really, as a mobile operator, you always have this legacy problem because but we are attacking very sort of. We try to be modern. We try to be sort of attacking the market in the right way, and so we just removed all the legacy part and really moved to a cloud-native solution, a data-centric approach to the services, so that all the functions within the 5G core is data-driven. So and it's really, that's when we can really make this magic happen between the data scientists and telco. And we have really skilled engineers on the telco side, and we really like to move in that direction, like you say, Brandon, because that's where the strengths are into the future. So.
Dimitris, do you see, I mean, we see initiatives, Telco AI, there was one yesterday, I think, an OpenAI platform with a group of companies coming together, Nokia and AMD. Do you see that telcos are sort of moving to try and put together telco-specific models in a sort of generic way, or is it something that each individual operator is going to have to sort of do for themselves within?
Well, I think there will be a mix in the industry for sure, right? So obviously some tier ones can afford to create their own models, their own foundational models, or some other smaller telcos may partner with, you know, third-party companies. But the point is here that there's a lot of opportunity, and as you said, there is a skills gap, there is a more talent needed. But I think the key differentiator and the common denominator is that telcos only use a fraction of the data they own, less than 10% according to our estimates, right? And that's a really powerful advantage telcos have. Of course, realizing that and taking advantage of it is a different story, but if you look at any other adjacent market at the moment, whether it's manufacturing, retail, supply chain, all of these companies are trying to use the data. They have to train models, right? And telcos have a lot of data which can be used in a manner, you know, compliant with privacy laws to train models. And I think that can be a catalyst to push them forward.
That's a very good point, Dimitris, because I think that we do gather a lot of data, especially also on the broadband side. We are one of the large fiber to the home operators in Norway, or the biggest in Norway. And we gather a lot of data, and it's not on a proper platform to use them in this situation. So in our context, the mobile part is sort of the spearhead and moving ahead, and then we will follow with the entertainment solutions, with the broadband solutions, and so it's an exciting journey into that world.
And when we mentioned skill sets, and it's often touched on as something that's difficult, what about how operators can work out other challenges, such as maybe doing a sort of cost-benefit analysis around the costs of engaging with some of the models? Because I was thinking, if you have a network operating system and your technicians are interacting in natural language, interrogating network data to find out network state, if you have customer care agents doing something similar, and that's integrated with the network operations platforms, you know, Dimitris saying there's a lot of data, you're churning a lot of data, you're training models all the time. When does that become, let me rephrase that question, is the cost of doing that a concern for your customers there?
It's always, cost is always a concern
well, sure,
with telcos,
but, you know,
right?
Yeah.
But one of the things when we did, and I'm going to go back to the practical question before, right? When we brought AI in, and I talked about that specific example, it was like, we're not going to put GPUs in the network. If that was the case, dead on arrival. And it was basically, we had to put these trained AI models on the real estate available, which means it was just x86 CPUs. It was the existing management cluster. We didn't have to put any more capacity in. So we had to think about, how do we train the models offline, bootstrap these models? How do we introduce them in a risk-free way? And how do we make it commercially viable? So I do think when we talk about AI, it's not all about large language models, right? And training with large corpuses of data sets. I mean, we use, for Spam Shield, for instance, we're using regression models, XGB Boost, right? Which is classification models say, you know, do you have cancer, not cancer? Is this person high risk or low risk in a financial, right? You can say spam, not spam. So, you know, these capabilities of classifying something good or bad, right? That exists outside of telco, but we can apply that specific model, and it's not a large language model. And like I said, our DQN models, reinforcement learning, they're not large language models that depends on prompts. We train this model, and in reinforcement learning, the AI agent is learning that environment, taking action on its own, reading the state, and it's updating its actions in real time without any human intervention. So this is running in a closed loop model, completely hands off on a human. And it's able to run on infrastructure that's not GPU based. So again, very, very practical approach, solve the problem, right? We understand the problem, we work our way back to the technology, and when you do it in a way that it fits within operators' reality in terms of their operational constraints.
Okay, brilliant. I just want to ask a final question, which is, I guess it's a hype question in a way, but more nuanced perhaps, which is, do you think that AI is going to have a tangible, significant impact in the way that you can run your business, in the way that telcos structure their network operations, and perhaps when do you think we'll start to see that push through?
Indeed it will. I think, and it's basically, like I said, we are very happy with the cooperation we had and partnership we have with Mavenir, and working with a new full 5G core, IMS core, messaging core, spam shield, and I think that it will give us a competitive edge, and it's really about what we can do is to make sure that we have the architecture, partner with the right partner, and then start using AI models as we go. We started with messaging. We will continue that with policy, with everything we do within the network to both save cost but eventually be able to do more for the customer without rising the cost and keep the customers happy. That's really what it's all about.
Dimitris, is it we must have an AI strategy, or is it something meaningful that is going to change?
Definitely, I think it's already changing, and there's a lot of innovation coming from the IT industry, from AI and hyperscalers, and definitely, it's not a new fad, it's not a new trend, right? So automation and AI are a fundamental part of networks, of customer operations, of core networks, everything. So we don't expect it will go away. So every telco needs a solid strategy.
Sounds like good news for you, Brandon. Just to finish, where do you think you can take AI for your customers and for Mavenir as well, what it can do?
Oh, I think it's going to be, I say AI is everywhere, right? But you got to start somewhere, right? Whether it's fraud and security, whether it's in service assurance, whether it's in the CRM. And I do think AI is going to be a need to have, not a nice to have for operators as we move. I mean, if you look at every industry outside of telco, they're moving their businesses forward with the use of AI, with the use of things like GitOps, automation. Telco should be no different, right? So we're going to need to embrace that state of the art and make it work for telco, but we've got to solve telco's problems. And there's a lot of problems in telco that can be solved with AI, because every problem in telco revolves around data, right? We talked about it, whether it's fraud patterns, it's data. When we run networks, it's all data. When we manage our customers, right? Tons of plans to look through, usage patterns. There's so much data to crunch in telco. That means there's so much value that can be extracted by AI, pure and simple. And I do think the operators that lean forward and embrace AI in their business models are going to have a competitive edge, no doubt about that.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope we gave you a small insight into what one operator and customers are doing with AI. It's obviously a huge topic, much more to discuss. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.